Tonight, officials say a forest fire burning 5 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway near Ocean Pond is under control. We'll have the latest on that story. And
by growing food at the point of consumption, you're actually getting zero nutrient degradation. And every time you eat from it, it's the freshest food in the world.
A St. John's couple has developed a new machine that grows fresher and cheaper vegetables.
So don't just dream of success, dream for impact.
One of the province's top athletes takes home an honorary degree from MUN. We'll hear more about Katarina Roxon's latest achievement.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We hope to have more on that fire burning near Whitburn shortly, but first, months after legislative changes were brought in to deal with unclaimed bodies at the Health Sciences Centre in St. John's, it seems the remains still have not been buried. Here and Now's Elizabeth Whitten has this update.
More than 4 months ago, the provincial government empowered Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services to bury unclaimed remains. Health Authority spokesperson Michaela Etchegary says, as of the most recent count, there are 27 bodies in long-term storage. And since the legislation came into effect more than 4 months ago, it still hasn't buried any of them. She says that's because the legislation still has to be finalized. The Health Authority is supposed to launch a website to help connect families with the remains of loved ones. But Etchegary says it's still under construction. Health Minister Krista Lynn Howell says there's a procedure in place for the Health Authority to deal with unclaimed bodies.
We do expect that they are following that to the letter on how they conduct the operations around these unclaimed remains.
Progressive Conservative MHA and health critic Barry Pettin says he's alarmed that dozens of bodies are still in storage.
The province brought in this legislation. They were going to come up with processes as 5. We're in 6 months almost now, and we're finding out there's still bodies in these coolers.
Pettin says no matter how someone lived or died, people deserve a dignified burial. Elizabeth Whitten, CBC News, St. John's.
A teen from Happy Valley Goose Bay risked her life trying to seek help for her family after their vehicle got stuck along a remote stretch of the Trans-Labrador Highway during last week's blizzard. 19-year-old Jada Sampson was worried about her brother with special needs when she decided to venture out on foot. The family of 5 was making the 400-kilometer journey from Port Hope Simpson to Happy Valley Goose Bay when they became stranded in the storm. There was no cell service, the car was running out of gas, and poor visibility made it difficult to determine their location. Sampson spent 4 hours wandering through the snow before RCMP found her 45 kilometers from town.
At the point I was found, it was in the last 20 minutes before that, I'd say I lost all my hope. I thought I was gonna lose my life because for the last hour, it was in the dark and I was hallucinating really bad, and I kept wishing I could go into a house, and in the trees I would see houses and almost try to walk up to them and then they'd disappear. And then by the time the police officer came towards me with his flashlight, I didn't even think he was real until I collapsed in his arms.
What a close call. The emergency services app on Sampson's smartphone is what led the RCMP to start their search. Police are now reminding people to keep their vehicles stocked, to always have a shovel, food provisions, warm clothing, and a cell phone or other communication device. Well, in other news, 6 years to the day since he won a seat for the NDP, Jordan Brown has announced he will not be running again. Brown has served as MHA for Labrador West for 6 years, but today he says he doesn't plan to seek re-election. Brown says it wasn't an easy decision, but he'd like to spend more time with his wife and young family. The 36-year-old is one of 2 of the province's elected NDP MHAs. Well, a pin made out of moose hide is becoming a national symbol for anti-violence. The Moose Hide campaign encourages people to wear the small pins to show their commitment to ending violence against Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. Keith Cormier is a member of the Halibut First Nation. He took part in a Moose Hide campaign event yesterday in Corner Brook.
May the 15th is an important day because it is the Moose Hide Campaign Day right across Turtle Island or Canada. And we had an event here in Corner Brook. We had about 80 people come out and to try to build awareness, public awareness of what Moose High Campaign is all about, what it means, and why it's so important within our communities. Well, the Moose High Campaign was actually started in 2011 by a father and a daughter in northern BC, Paul and Raven LeCourt. And they were harvesting moose, and he wanted to do something with the hide to motivate him to work on the missing and murdered Indigenous women that disappeared on what's known as the Highway of Tears. That's 750 kilometers between Prince George and Prince Rupert. So they made little 1-inch square moose hide patches out of the moose hide, and within their community, and then it caught on in British Columbia, and it's gone right across Canada. And right now there's between 5 and 6 million moose hide patches have been distributed right across Canada, and there's over 100,000 people today right across Canada doing what we're doing, building awareness in our communities that violence against women and children will not be tolerated by the men who walk this planet. Personally, when I wear it, there's a couple things. I've been wearing this for years right now, and my commitment to myself and my grandchildren and my sons and the community is that if I see violence against women and children, I will step in, I will step up, and I won't tolerate it. It's incredibly close, here in Corner Brook. We know of an Indigenous woman who was left on the side of the road up here by the Wayscales years ago. And you heard some very heartfelt stories here today. It tugs at the heartstrings because that could be my family. That could be your family. It could be anybody's family. And when it hits home in a personal way, then people really, it sends a message that we're not immune to any of this stuff.
Well, firefighters from Whitburn were dispatched to Ocean Pond late this afternoon. That's where a fire is burning about 18 kilometers east of the town in Ocean Pond. That fire is now deemed to be under control. The location is just 5 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway near an RV park and adjacent to a Newfoundland Power transmission line. The fire was first reported shortly after 2 p.m. and was burning out of control for a time. No other details are known at this hour, but we'll have more with Fire Duty Officer Jeff Motti ahead on Here and Now. One other news, around 300 affordable rental homes will soon be constructed across the province. It's part of government's affordable rental housing program. The 3-year plan aims to see the construction of 800 low-cost rental units. One of these projects was recently completed in Pooch Cove in partnership with a private company. It offers 10 homes, one of which is accessible. John Abbott says this type of project in Pooch Cove is what he hopes to replicate all over the province.
A great example of, as I said, a private developer working with the community, because it took a lot of work to get this project off the ground, and they've been quite successful in doing that. And I think it's a lesson learned from a lot of smaller communities around the province. If they work with the developer, they can solve some of the technical and logistical and zoning challenges that most communities are facing. But the aim has to be to support seniors, support affordability, and that's what this program and this project represents.
From housing solutions to food security, Sean and Amy Fisher have developed an appliance to help families and businesses grow their own greens at home. Not only can you customize it to your tastes, they say it's also a money saver. The invention is already rolling into some local restaurants.
So this is the Victory. It's an automated aeroponic farming appliance. You can grow more yield and variety than any other solution in a Victory farming appliance.
So you can grow root vegetables and leafy greens and everything in between.
So it's the same size as a common fridge, and it has 216 crop spots inside that can grow almost anything that you like. We're looking at some herbs here. We've got some savory and some parsley growing. Some romaine lettuce is growing really good. And when you open up the double doors, you'll see 4 towers where there's 216 crop spots distributed. And we have a planting schedule to sequentially plant all over those crop spots so that you have a daily yield of everything that's grown in it. And everything is rotatable, so you can bring every single crop spot out to the front so you can do your planting and seeding and harvesting. We can hear the mist going there now. So every day you come in and just turn your section to where you want to work and then do your planting and seeding. And then down in the bottom, The lower section is where you can find the main root chamber, and our root chamber is accessible. So this is a first here, so we can actually grow root vegetables here. So we can grow carrots and potatoes. If you had your potato plant growing, you could just reach in here, cut out a potato, and leave the plant undisturbed. So hydroponics is when the roots of plants are suspended in a nutrient-rich water mix. But here, the roots are just suspended and the mist just sprays them. And this is actually hooked up like a dishwasher where it'll flush and fill the reservoir with water, and then it will mix all the nutrients here exactly to what the plants need according to our software, and then manage the pH.
And then at the front of the unit, we have a tablet. You can come in and you can click on your crops. You can go through and you can see what the CO2 is. So everything in here is going to be managed through our app, and then you can also access it on a mobile phone or website.
Let's say if you wanted to always have kale and you ate 1 head of kale every day, it takes 50 days to grow a head of kale from seed to harvest. So you need 50 crop spots, plant 1 seed a day, and after day 50 you will always have kale. So we do that grow calculation on every single one of our crops so that every single day there's a harvestable amount of goods of everything that's in it.
We're thinking our MSRP will be around $20,000. Over the course of a year, you're going to save the most on leafy greens and herbs. They are the most expensive and the most dense. So over the course of a year, you can save about $18,000 if you were just growing herbs.
Our first cohort that we're going to be sending out in a few weeks, we got Piatto at Elizabeth Avenue is going to have one. Terre in the Alt Hotel downtown will get one. And then the St. John's Convention Center will have one in their lobby.
When we approached restaurants, the fit was immediate. People were ready to just get it right now. Homes are also interesting. It's in our home right now. We're in our kitchen. We're eating from it every day. So I do think if people wanted to get one for their home, we would certainly sell it. And that is our plan in the future. But we think food service, it'd be good to get it in there first, get people used to the idea. This is a brand new category, a brand new concept. So we expect, over time, hopefully every kitchen in the world is going to have a farming appliance.
Well, one of the province's most decorated athletes was awarded an honorary degree from Grenfell campus.
For the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa, Katerina Mirabel Roxon.
Five-time Paralympic swimmer Katerina Roxon received a Doctor of Laws degree. Originally from Kippens, Roxon is a 4-time Paralympic medalist, including 1 gold medal at the 2016 Games in Rio. She was also a flag bearer at the most recent Olympic Games in Paris. In her acceptance speech, Roxon spoke about the importance of perseverance in the face of life's challenges.
So don't just dream of success, dream for impact. Dream of leaving the world better than you found it. Dreaming redefines boundaries, pushing past expectations, and creating something extraordinary. As I stand here today, I see a generation ready to lead. A generation that already has proven its strength, resilience, and determination. So I'll leave you with these 3 things. Dream without fear. Push beyond your limits. And persevere through every challenge. Because the world needs you to believe in yourself. So believe. Class of 2025, this is your moment, your beginning, and your future. So go forward, break boundaries, and create something extraordinary. Thank you again for this amazing honor.
Fire chiefs and fire departments, they're all kind of concerned going into this weekend because we're going to see some nicer weather going into this weekend, and with what nicer weather comes the opportunity for people to have campfires.
Campfires are a hot topic this Victoria Day weekend. What the province's forest fire duty officer wants you to know. Heading into the long weekend, our conversation is coming up.
Well, as Jeff mentioned, it is going to be pretty nice weekend for most of us. A nice start to the weekend, too. Take a look at those temperatures along southern areas of the island. That is going to flip because the winds are going to shift. We're going to get away from that northerly flow, more southerly flow moving in. but there is plenty of sunshine in the forecast. We do have some rain on the way, first in Labrador, and then eventually we'll see that across the island. I'll break all the forecast details down for you coming up a little later.
Well, the Victoria Day long weekend is upon us, and that means many people will be hitting the highway to go camping or visit the cabin. With increased outdoor activity comes a greater risk of wildfires. There's a fire burning in Whitburn today, which makes 66 wildfires already compared to 7 at this time last year. Earlier this afternoon, I spoke with the provincial fire duty officer about the importance of being fire safe as we head into this long weekend. So how concerned are you about this coming weekend and people not being fire safe?
You know, right across the province, like people within the fire service for the province, fire chiefs and fire departments, they're all kind of concerned going into this weekend because we're going to see some nicer weather going into this weekend. And, you know, with what nicer weather comes the opportunity for people to have campfires. But it's always important to know the local rules and regulations when it comes to having a campfire, if you're able to have a campfire, because the rules provincially and within municipalities, both kind of will set the stage for if you're able to have a campfire, and of course campgrounds and campsites. So you need to know where you are and what the local rules and regulations are. You need to know what the local weather conditions are or how easily the forest can ignite. So you can check our website and check our FWI map, and that's a measure of how easily the forest can ignite. So you want to know what the risk of wildfire is. You know, everything lines up and you're going to have a campfire. You want to have your tools alongside you to be able to extinguish that campfire when you're done with it. So having the campfire, you want to make sure it's on a prepared site. It's not too windy. You have one of those, say, screened-in kits. The wind's not too bad. You know, those are things that you want to do. You also want to make sure that you always keep that fire attended. And once you're done for the evening, you want to make sure you thoroughly soak that fire until you know it's out for sure.
What are some of the main causes of wildfires?
Some human-caused ignitions can be resulted from using an ATV or a chainsaw within a forested area. So when it comes to that, like, you want to know your equipment. You want to make sure you make no modifications. So all equipment that you use within the forested area have proper mufflers. And if you're going to use a chainsaw or if you're going to use an ATV, it's always best to make sure that you follow the rules and regulations and you have something that if you do start a fire, you will extinguish it. So a lot of your outdoor stores, safety stores, will have a little small package you can put in your kits when you go into the forest area, whether you're cutting wood or if you're traveling on your ATV, that it's just a chemical compound that you can quickly take out and shake on, you know, the site if a fire were to occur. When you're thinking about that and you're using ATVs, say, and they get muddy, it's really, really important to not just keep on using ATV when it's muddy, because that piece of dirt that gets up on the muffler, that can catch on fire and fall off behind you. You could be driving a long distance and not even know that you've created a wildfire behind you. So keeping your equipment thoroughly cleaned and in good working order is really important.
You know, we're seeing severe fires out in Manitoba. 2 people died. They were trapped by the fire, and officials say that, you know, it's a reminder about how quickly the fire situation can change. How worried are you about what's in store for us this summer if all of this dry weather continues?
Everyone's starting to ramp up, so it means that not just the province here is having an early start to the fire season. Everyone's having an early start to the fire season. I really, really hope that we don't end up in a situation like in 2023, which was the worst fire season in Canadian history. But, you know, we're going to do things on our side to be prepared. We're going to invest in repairing the water bomber. We're going to invest in making sure that our staff are trained. We're going to invest into making sure we have all our vacancies filled. We're going to invest in the student program, and even more so, we're going to invest more in terms of working with the communities in terms of fire smart and prevention and education and mitigation efforts.
All right, well, some great advice there, Jeff Motti, for people to keep top of mind if they're heading out this weekend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, Ashley, it turns out you don't have to leave town to see an iceberg this Victoria Day long weekend. One was spotted off of Signal Hill this afternoon.
Yep, visitors climbed the hill to catch a glimpse of a berg way out in the distance. Lucky for us though, videographer Ted Dillon had his long lens with him. Take a look at that.
Yeah, it looks like a big one, but yes, very far away. You definitely want binoculars for that one. But hopefully it'll move closer to shore, and that'll be a nice attraction down in Signal Hill.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I was thinking about going out for a drive, so now I don't have to. How exciting.
So how are the icebergs out there? Are there many out there now? Or?
There are lots out there. Yeah, it's just a matter of whether the winds bring them a little closer. If we take a look at this map right now, there are over 300 icebergs that are within 100 kilometers of the shoreline here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And like I said, the winds have been more northerly lately, hence those cooler temperatures this afternoon. Take a look at this wind shift. So we had northwesterlies for most of the morning today. We peaked at 11 degrees, and those temperatures have been dropping thanks to those northeasterly winds. But again, these northeasterly winds bring the bergs a little closer to land. So there's good in that for sure. Like I said, down to 2 degrees right now. And temperatures across the island and Labrador really depend on where the winds are blowing. Single digits all along the northeast coast. Head towards the south coast of the island. It is a beautiful day, 13 to 18 degrees at the moment, and this won't last too long because those winds are going to shift more southerly as we head through the weekend, really. For now, we're dealing with some clear skies. Remember, things are very dry out there as well, and they're really going to stay dry as we head through the weekend for the most part. Up across Labrador, just looking at some cloud cover towards the coast, and this may also be bringing some flurries with it, and that will be the story as we head through tonight. You can see a little bit of high cloud coming in, going to lead to a pretty nice sunset for some of you, but for most of us, we're just going to be seeing clear skies through the overnight. That's going to allow the temperatures to drop as we head through tonight. Most of us seeing below zero. And then for Labrador, other than some flurries towards the coast, just looking at some increasing cloud for those of you in Lab West, and also the chance that we will see some showers by the time we get into the early morning hours. And overall temperatures, like I said, tonight are going to be fairly chilly, hovering near or even a little bit below zero. The winds will ease as we head through tonight as well. And then for Labrador, hovering around the 0 degree mark eventually for Lab City, but you will see some potential for some showers towards the coast, hanging out around -1. Generally, though, the winds will be fairly light. As we head into tomorrow, the first part of the day looking beautiful. Lots of sunshine expected towards the coast of Labrador. Again, you're going to hang on to some cloud cover. Also, you've got that onshore wind, so you're still looking at the chance of a few flurries in the mix there. Most of Lab West will be seeing showers or periods of rain through the afternoon. And then eventually some high cloud will move in again for the western portion of the island. But it should stay dry. Those showers will eventually work their way towards Happy Valley Goose Bay and then the coast through the overnight. Now, again, we still may see a few flurries in the mix because temperatures are going to be quite cool. By the time we get into Sunday morning, though, those of you in the Northern Peninsula, West Coast, a little bit more cloud cover to deal with in that time frame. Overall, your temperatures tomorrow, they're going to be fairly nice. Again, it will depend on where the winds are blowing. But most should see temperatures in the teens. Now, St. John's, it is going to be exactly like what we saw today. Temperatures will peak in the afternoon. The winds will shift to more southeasterly winds, and that will drop the temperatures. Southern areas of the Avalon already seeing those single digits, or will see those single digits. That's where you're going to top out. And then same thing for the southern areas of the island. Overall, 7 degrees, maybe a little bit more than that for the Burin Peninsula, but plenty of sunshine. And the winds won't be overly impressive, so it won't be that bad during the day. but still fairly nice weather. And then for those of you towards the coast of Labrador, again, don't be surprised to see a few flurries in the mix tomorrow. Temperatures generally in the single digits, a little cooler for the north coast, but the rest of even along the strait through Happy Valley Goose Bay and then Lab West, your temperatures should reach the 10 or 11 degree mark, with your winds generally out of the south between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Now, there is still some rain possible by the time we get into Sunday night, and then Monday, temperatures really are going to start to drop, and I'll get into that in the long-range forecast a little later.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, cruise ship season is kicking off in St. John's next week. The city expects 39 ships to cruise into St. John's by October, with a total of more than 39,000 passengers. The first cruise ship this year is set to dock on Wednesday. The Silver Seas cruise line vessel Silver Dawn should have around 660 people on board. On the west coast, the port of Corner Brook is set to see 22 cruise ships this year, bringing around 30,000 passengers.
It happens on the 23rd of May, when, under the shades of falling night, the Trouters Special leaves for the fishing pool.
Well, it's the 24th of May, and they used to get away aboard the Trouters Special. Still to come tonight, we dip into the CBC archives for a blast from May 24 fishing trips past. What are the Newfoundland and Labrador songs that define the first 25 years of this millennium? Well, the CBC's Heather Barrett asked some local musicians to come up with a playlist of those 25 essential songs. And this time around, they're taking us back to the years 2010 to 2014.
We are 1/4 of the way through this century. 2010, that was the year of Hurricane Igor. And of course, that tore through eastern Newfoundland and September 20th and 21st. There was a benefit concert held for it. Republic of Doyle started shooting in 2010. And also the 2010 Juno Awards were held in St. John's. What songs were you guys going through?
Matthew Byrne's Ballads came out that year.
Come all ye lads and fair young maids, come all ye sports beware.
Pathological Lovers would have came out that year with a project.
Stretch between Corner Brook and Stephenville, exit 1, exit 2.
Jody Richardson.
Yeah, Jody Richardson. Yeah, he's a local legend of sorts.
Great songwriter too.
But this one, what ended up being was House by Ron Hines off Stealing Genius.
I love this house. When we moved in, this house meant everything.
It's called House, but it's about your home, you know? It just really touches all the right sentimental, nostalgic, you know, just like when a really nitty-gritty life song.
We're at 2011, and what I can remember the most about 2011 was August. That summer had the worst weather. It was like the worst weather summer anyone could remember. So while we were going indoors and listening to music, what songs did the three of you listen to from 2011?
The Dardanelles had Eastern Light. Mark Bragg, With Your Kiss.
Put away the bowling ball, drop the ham radio, swallow the bazooka Joe.
Okay, but you did eventually have to come up with a 2011 song.
Yeah.
We came up with Bandages by Harazetta, which was off of the album Seeds. They were the band at that point, and they were a heavy hitter. For a lot of people, you know, for myself, it was like being a young person in school. It was the local band that people were talking about and that people were listening to. That song and that album was a huge hit.
2012. That was the year The Grand Seduction, starring Brendan Gleeson and Taylor Kitsch, filmed in Trinity and the area. So it was a big year for a big film production, but what songs were on the go in 2012?
I think that was the first year that I've started hearing The Once.
It was a really good album for them, Row Upon Row of the People We Know.
At the front of the bar, but at the back of the line.
Andrew James O'Brien.
Yeah, his album Searchers came out that year. That was I guess, pre-Fortunate Ones. But I remember that being like a big talked about album.
It was, yeah.
She makes love like a house on fire, then she's cool like a cold rain.
What did you decide on for that year?
We chose The Long Distance Runners, the song Sally Ann, and the album is, what is that?
Tracks.
So let's get on with the show. I didn't want you to go. I thought that you didn't either. Oh, at the Sally Ann.
It was a big hit on CHMR. It was in heavy rotation as soon as it came out, and it was so catchy. I mean, it was on mainstream radio as well. Just such a catchy song, stuck in your head.
Now we're at the year 2013, and what I remember about 2013 is that February by Lisa Moore won CBC's Canada Reads for that year. What songs were you listening to from 2013?
Green and Gold, The Body Knows came out. That was a big one, and they had quite a lot of buzz going around town.
Longs to be stoned, still and quiet and underground.
Matt Hornell, Have It All, that would have came out that year too.
These crimes will break you down.
had a few different songs that were kind of up against each other on that record. We picked Worth Living by the Black Bags.
I think it's very underrated. The songs in there are very influential for that alternative raw kind of
rock and roll.
It's 2014. Caitlin Osman skates in the Winter Olympics for the first time. What songs were you listening to in 2014?
Steve Maloney put out a record that year with The Wandering Kind. That he was getting a lot of buzz then. Dope Piece from Rabbit Town. Yeah, he put out his first album.
The name's Dope Pete, coming straight at it, the gutted, cause the link is fucked in, homie, I ain't like no other. I'm rather unique, I got a family to carry on my shoulders, Tesla's, boy, we finna run.
Rocket Ship were big, becoming really big, like all over Canada and the States with their record Shake It Off.
Headed for the West Coast, spirit burning at the bottom of our lungs.
What song did you pick in the end?
We picked We Are All Running by The Once.
We are all running, we are all running, the same race we are.
Colleen suggested this one, and I actually forgot about this song when she played it again. I was like, oh my God, like, yes, like.
This is a great tune.
Yeah.
The same place we are.
What songs made here in Newfoundland and Labrador would you include in this list? You can email us, nl25playlist@cbc.ca.
Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Congratulations to Larry and Donna Angel, who are celebrating their 53rd anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Richard and Marie Woodrow from Sibley's Cove in Beta Verde, now living in St. Phillips. Wishing Buzz and Kath Berzins a happy 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow. They're also in St. Phillips. Anniversary greetings going out to David and Janet Green of Greens Harbor. Their 50th is tomorrow. Happy 50th anniversary tomorrow also to Ron and Yvonne Keats from St. John's. Ross and Verna Chislett of Heart's Delight Islington are also marking 50 years of marriage tomorrow. Happy 54th anniversary to Kenneth and Peggy Randall of Westport. They're described as an example of true love. Congratulations to Bob and Maureen Kinsella of Mount Pearl, who are celebrating their 50th anniversary tomorrow. Happy 67th anniversary to Bill and Irma Perry of Millertown, now living in Ottawa. Wishing Bob and Judy Mercer of Pasadena a happy 54th wedding anniversary. Best wishes going out to Rodney and Ida Ford of Port aux Basques, who are celebrating their 65th anniversary. Congratulations to Alwyn and Olive Price of St. John's Within, who are marking 50 years of marriage tomorrow. Now to some birthdays. Happy 97th birthday to Woodrow Snow of Kings Point, now living in Springdale. Wishing Phoebe Conley a happy 91st birthday. She's from Brigus and now lives in Clarks Beach. Happy birthday to Jessie Kirby of Marystown, who celebrated her 90th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Julia Wheaton. She celebrated yesterday in Fredericton. Wishing Earl Ellsworth a happy 91st birthday. He's in Carmenville. Frank Late of Mount Pearl turned 90 yesterday. Happy birthday. Happy 90th birthday also to Ted Harding, who's living in CBS. Happy 92nd birthday to Harold Piercy of Port Rexton, now living in St. John's. Rita Dirtle of Bonavista is celebrating her 91st birthday tomorrow. Birthday greetings going out to Hazel Peach. She just turned 91 in Corner Brook. Stuart Mitchellmore turns 91 today. He's living in Green Island Cove. Aloysius Keynes is celebrating his 90th birthday tomorrow. We're told he's the oldest resident of Bird Cove and he watches Here and Now every evening. And happy 90th birthday to Raymond Blundell from Hickman's Harbor, now living in Clarenville. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. So here we are, Friday, heading into the long weekend, and the weather is still looking pretty good.
Yeah, it held up. That's good. Yeah, it's going to be mild and sunny for some of us, but there will be some clouds as we head through the weekend. Let's take a look at what's going on for your Saturday evening and into Sunday. So up across Labrador, you're generally looking at cloudy skies. The chance of some showers will pretty much linger through the day, or through the night rather, and then as we head into the morning hours, some more periods of rain will move in, starting in Lab West, and we will see some showers for the rest of Labrador through the day. Now across the island, generally looking at some cloudy skies at times into the afternoon as well. I think there'll be a little bit more sunshine than what's showing here, but as we head into the evening hours, definitely more clouds moving in and the chance of some showers along southern areas of the island through the overnight and into early Monday. But as far as Labrador goes, those showers will spread across through the day. Temperatures towards the coast anyway will sit into the single digits rather. Otherwise between 10 to 14 degrees. Now across the island, this should be the warmest day of the weekend through central and the west coast, where you should reach the mid to upper teens through the day. And then we've got some temperatures, at least on the south coast, sitting into the single digits. Now Burin Peninsula, Avalon, likely hanging out somewhere between 11 to 12 degrees. Now as far as Monday goes, we will see those showers move in. Likely, we may see a few showers anyway for the Avalon, but there should be some sunshine in the mix there as well through the afternoon. Generally cloudy through central, west coast, northern peninsula, and then for Labrador as well. Now you may see some sunshine for central areas of Labrador through the day, but the rain will continue for those of you in Lab West, and then spotty showers possible across the island. Nothing significant by any means. Most of that heavy rain should have moved off by the time we get into the afternoon, but there is a wind shift, and those northerly winds are going to keep those temperatures cool along the northeast coast, and then same thing for coastal areas of Labrador. You get away from that along the south coast and even western areas of the island, we'll likely see temperatures between 9 to 12 or even 13 degrees up across Labrador. The long-range forecast showing those temperatures staying in the single digits as we get into the middle of next week. For St. John's and eastern Newfoundland, this is also going to come with a chance of some rain and showers. And then same thing for central Newfoundland, although a little bit warmer, sitting around 9 degrees. Same thing for the west. And then for Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures at least staying in the double digits, between 10 to 15 degrees into the middle of next week. Single digits for Lab West, but you will see your double digits return by the time we get into Wednesday, and also a little bit of sunshine in the mix there for you as well. Our weather photo of the day is a lovely spring sunset in Fortune Harbor. Thank you to Brian for that great shot. If you have any weather photos, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Beautiful shot. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and before we send you off into your 24th of May weekend, we have a blast from Victoria Days Gone By.
Yes, in 1962, a CBC program called 2020 aired a special on a unique rail run that was offered to trouters just once a year so they could access certain ponds during the 24th of May holiday.
Yeah, and we'll let CBC's Harry Manis take it from here.
The Newfoundland Railway is mentioned in the Bible, Newfoundlanders will tell you, where it says, "The Lord made all things that creep and crawl." But the bullet was never born to be a record breaker. It twists and climbs through gorge and gully and crosses a mountain range on narrow gauge tracks, only 3/4 as wide as those in general use. But though Newfoundlanders make jokes about their undersized railway, they love it with an affection that no mainland Canadian feels for the mighty transcontinental lines. It isn't just a railway, a cold public utility. The Bullet is a social institution, a wide-open club, where membership is as democratic as a one-way ticket to the next town. Put your feet up. Relax. You're not going anywhere. Not very fast, at any rate.
Leaving for all fishing points, including Mars, Ocean Park, Spring Eagle, Ascension Junction, and regular points to Oregon.
Once a year, the social life of the Bullet really boils up. It happens on the 23rd of May, when, under the shades of falling night, the Trouter Special leaves for the fishing pools. What are they drinking? Well, it's not milk. It, too, is Trouter Special, a brand of strong Jamaica rum bottled in Newfoundland, especially to ward off the chill of an early spring fishing trip to the pools that only the railway can reach in the wild black yonder. This train stops almost everywhere, except stations, at streams and ponds and forest trails, as the trouter requires. Trouting on the 24th of May is not just a sport in Newfoundland, it's a ritual. Everybody who can hold a rod is out that day on ponds or rivers or backyard streams, madly dangling worms and flies and spinners and dreaming of catching a monster. Some people walk or go by car. Even women have come to the forest, but wear white gloves to ease the gooiness of worming a hook. Women are everywhere and do not go unnoticed by the dedicated fishermen. Off he goes, burdened with fishing gear, billy cans, and heaven knows what else as he heads for home. The train returns to St. John's on the night of the 24th. Bringing the tired passengers, hungry and hungover. Most of them have sworn off trouting for life. A few are excited about their catches, and others refuse to open their creels. The wonder of it is that they'll all be back next year, fighting for seats on this madcap trip to the backwoods.
Wow, what
That's
a
amazing.
gem.
Yeah.
What a gem from the archives from good old Harry Manis. Wow. Well, we should tell you that we will be here on the holiday Monday with a special 30-minute holiday edition of Here and Now that starts at 6 o'clock Island time, a half hour earlier in most parts of Labrador. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Good night.